It is no longer news that to go far in life, we must rely on the shoulders of those who have gone ahead of us. Hi, everyone. I am Cynthia Ekika, a lawyer, a spoken word artist, and of course, the head for the mid and senior level legal professional development program. And it is an absolute pleasure to introduce to you all our flagship initiative, the Legal Success Stories, where we get to spill all the secrets and rules to building a successful legal career. And these secrets are not just spilled, right? But they are spilled by the legal juggernauts whose career and trajectories are testaments of the applications of these rules. These are people you are looking up to. These are people I'm looking up to. And perhaps you'll be eager to ask them questions one on one, how they climb the ladder, but haven't gotten the opportunity to say no more. Today, in Legal Success Stories, we have one of a kind, a legal juggernaut, one of the youngest and senior advocate of Nigeria currently, who also happens to be a partner in Tayo Oyetibo LP. And that is not other than Mr. Mofe Tayo-Oyetibo. It's nice to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have some questions like young lawyers, MBA. We have questions, people looking up to you, and they have some questions to ask. So as to learn, the onions on how to do it better, just like you are doing now. And it is an absolute pleasure to have you. So the first one is what was it that inspired you to become a lawyer, not just in books but in practice?
In terms of what inspired me to be a lawyer, I'm not sure that story is too special. I initially wanted to do something in the science field. I wanted to
Okay.
do something in engineering, but I struggled in the areas that were necessary for that.
Oh,
Math and physics and so on. And so it meant that I had to change from a science line to an arts line. And it was in that process that I sort of stumbled into law. So it was not by any deliberate effort that
oh,
I actually went to study law. No. So that's my story. I ended up being an art student because I was very poor at science subjects. And then while being an
okay.
art student, I essentially stumbled into law.
Oh, so you're one of those that studied law because they didn't like mathematics.
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
that's an interesting story, I must
Correct.
say. And yeah, I mean, it does not matter. The most important thing you're doing well at what you're doing currently.
Yes.
So, what were the most challenging moments for you in legal practice, especially when you were between 1 to 5 years post call, and how were you able to navigate them?
So the most challenging part in the early days, I would say for me, were you have to motivate yourself
Okay.
to do this every day. I started my career at busy firms, and so the challenges of working in those types of offices was
Okay.
there. And so you had to always every day rise up to a high standard of delivery at every point in time. I've always done disputes,
Okay.
so naturally the challenges of the justice system in Nigeria,
Okay.
I had to contend with. You go to court, the court is not sitting. Sometimes some of those instances were appearing in cases outside of Lagos. You would have traveled and you get told that court did not sit. Those types of things
Okay.
affect, your motivation to continue to push on with it. Those I would say would be my major challenges at the outset, because I knew that as I had become a lawyer, I had no choice and I had to make the most out of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have problems motivating myself as a lawyer. I was
Okay.
motivated to be a good lawyer. But these other things that you contend with while you are in that process are what I would say were the principal challenges. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So you made mention of offices. That means you've worked places elsewhere before here.
correct.
Or
Yes.
like, do you mind mentioning the law firms?
Uh, well, I started off my career at Ajimobobe and Okeke.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'll leave it there.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, I mean, one of the things that I've seen lawyers complain about, especially the young lawyers, is the pay. So, was the pay ever a challenge to you? You know how you have to transport yourself from where you stay to
Yeah.
the work you are going to, and several other things that will have to take your money. Sometimes, I mean, you are being sent to courts, and the money they give you for transportation doesn't really cover your cost for going to the court. So, was it ever a challenge for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think inflation is higher now
Okay.
than it was 12, 14 or so years ago
Okay.
when I started practice. So I know that the challenges today are perhaps a little bit more
Okay.
tasking to contend with. But for me at that time, I mean, I was a young guy, I didn't have any family responsibilities and all that. So I was more interested in sort of the personal development aspect of things than
Oh.
the money. So so far as the money was able to cover my immediate expenses, I was okay. I wasn't really looking. I didn't think that the money that I was being paid at that time was going to change my life, right?
Mm.
So I was more focused on
Mm.
getting through this initial phase and coming out of it successfully at the other end rather than thinking if you're 1 to 5 years old, it doesn't matter how much the employer pays you, the money can never change your life, right? It may be decent money, but it's never going to be life changing money. So I was more in pursuit of the life changing experience of becoming a good lawyer
Yeah.
than looking for life
Money.
changing money. And so that was it. I thought the firm did the best that they could. It wasn't a lot of money either, to be honest. But I think they did the best that they could. But naturally, everybody thinks that they're underpaid. I said this even at an event I spoke at last week or early this week or so. So there will always be that. It's a perennial conversation. Pay. Everybody thinks they're getting underpaid. Even as I'm sitting down here today, I think I'm underpaid. So it's a conversation that will never go away. But that's not to say also that there are not instances where people work in firms or for principals who short who fall short of what is expected of them in um, in remuneration of junior lawyers, and I've heard some stories. So I think those exist, right? But I think that at that time, I did not prioritize pay, and then especially in today's world, you can find other ways of sort of balancing those things out, right? Because the access to clients is a bit more democratized today than it
Okay.
used to be in the past
Okay.
because of free access to internet, or if not
Yeah.
free, but low cost access to internet, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you can reach clients without the formality of a structure of a law office. So even
Exactly.
if you are in an office that you think is doing less than expected on the pay end of things, there are sort of ways that you can try and make things a little bit better, pending when, of course, you can find yourself in a better place, especially if you want to remain where you are for the experience or whatever.
Yeah, but based on what you said, I know that some firms they don't allow private practice whilst working for them.
No, I don't think it is necessary. I wouldn't necessarily
Call
call
it
it
private.
private
Okay.
practice per se. So if I am an associate in a firm and somebody comes and says they want to sell or buy land
Okay.
and they need the documentation, then I can do that over a weekend, right? And so I don't see that there will be infidelity to your
Yeah.
employer if you have a small contract transaction or whatever. What I would say that a reasonable employer will be right to complain about is if you are using your employer's time to do your
Oh
personal
yeah.
time and or resources
More
to do your
reasonable.
personal work. But if you are not doing so, then I don't see why any employer will complain. And if an employer does, then such employer is unreasonable.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for that,
Yeah.
Mr. Mofe. So moving forward, I mean, it take away notes as a young lawyer, focus more on personal development and not the money. Thank you so much. So you are one of the youngest senior advocates of Nigeria, not just a year of call, but also by the actual age. So how did that pan out for you? How were you able to achieve such a great feat?
So the short answer is cliche, is hard work. But essentially, I think, in summary, the things that I would say, You need proper planning. So there was planning from a reasonably early time. You need to be consistent, and consistent in diligence, consistent in working hard, and consistent in your desire to fulfill an objective for growth, right? And so for me, I did not wake up or start off on day one wanting to become a senior advocate. My focus in the early years were just to be the best lawyer that I could be, right, at that time. Um, Somewhere along the line, in maybe the fifth or so year of call, naturally, when you go to court, you look around you and you start to notice
Yeah.
things, so you notice that there is value in becoming a senior advocate of Nigeria. And so from then on, the building blocks of that process, started at that time. And so there were certain steps I had to take, there were certain sacrifices that I had to make to be able to take silk and also to take them, early. You need to know the rules of the game, right? You can't sit somewhere and say, I want to become SAN. SAN does not happen to people. You work towards it. Yeah.
In the words of Mr. Mofe Tayo, SAN doesn't happen to people. You pursue it to learn how to play the game. So play the game. That's very fantastic. So, what's your biggest inspiration as a lawyer?
My biggest inspiration as a lawyer. Um, so, what inspires me the most is really to be the best lawyer. It's always been my inspiration from the beginning, right? So, in 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 law, in the business of law, in the profession of law, the most valuable currency is or currencies are your knowledge and the application of your knowledge. That's what people go after. They don't come after you because you have big muscles or you're tall or you're short, right? What knowledge do you have and how can you apply it to solve the most important problems? And so I have always wanted to be the most important problem solver, which is the best lawyer, and that is what still inspires me. So as a member of the outer bar, I wanted to be the best lawyer. After taking silk, what inspires me to continue to go ahead is to want to become the best lawyer within the category or within the rank of senior advocate of Nigeria at the end
Wow.
of the day. That's really
Oh,
what it
that's
is.
really nice. That's quite huge. So, when you said your inspiration is becoming the best lawyer, right? Do you have like in specific fields, specific areas of law, or generally? Because law is very
I'm a
dynamic.
disputes lawyer. So
Okay.
when I say the best lawyer, I would take that to mean the best disputes lawyer, right?
Okay.
Because I'm known to be a dispute. I do most of my work is in litigation and
Okay.
arbitration.
Okay.
So the best litigation lawyer, the best arbitration lawyer as
Oh,
well.
nice. Because I was going through your bio, I mean, online in Prime Dispute. I can't remember the name of the website, but I know that there was this, and there's a certain website that captured your work in arbitration. You were lead counsel, senior counsel in this, and they were all very important and high, profiled cases. So, and I was now asking myself whether you do more of arbitration than litigation, because there were a lot that they captured.
Yeah, so if it looks like there were a lot in arbitration and there's more in litigation.
Oh, nice. Word, word. So another thing that people complain about mostly in our legal profession is work-life balance. They feel like their life is not balanced. It's either your firm is taking, I mean, I for one believe that in law firm, there's nothing like 9 to 5. It can never be 9 to 5. It's either 9 to like 8 p.m., 10 p.m., or even the next day. So 9 to 5 is not really variable in the legal practice. So most people complain about not having a balanced life. They are just working, working, working. So I want to know. I don't know. I can't say whether you have that or you enjoy the balanced life and all of that. I might not speak to that, but I want to believe you have family and you are able to also have time for your family. So how are you able to balance work, have time for yourself, and also have time for your family?
So I'll answer it this way. Everything comes at a price,
Okay.
right? Um, and so what you have to ask yourself is, what is it that I want? What do I want to achieve? what is the cost of achieving it?
Okay.
And am I prepared to pay that cost or pay that price? Right? Success comes at a cost. It comes at a price. And people's level of ambition or desire to succeed varies, right? And so it's all fantastic if you prioritize a more balanced way of life. I want to work, but not so much. I want to have so and so amount of time to be able to do other things. And that's perfectly okay, right? But you must realize that that lifestyle is also tied to a certain objective.
Okay.
If you want to succeed to a high altitude and you want to succeed to that altitude at reasonable or the highest possible speed that is available to you, I don't know what work life balance would mean. And I'm not saying don't have time to do other things for yourself, but when you are a lawyer, essentially your job is to provide solutions to other people's problems. Problems come at all times of day, at all days, and you must continue to be switched on to be to be able to solve those
Yeah.
problems, right? And so you must, if you are in a situation where you find yourself working a great deal, you must recognize that in the season of life that you are at that time, you are paying the price or the cost of the success that you anticipate should come sometime in your future. And so you really just need to decide what it is you want for yourself. There's some people who are happy to work in the median area of things. You know, I don't want to work at the high end, but I don't want to work at the low end. I just want to work somewhere in the middle. It's easier for you to find balance. I want to start at 9 and I want to close at 5, and that's it. But if you want to accelerate, it's competition. You're in competition with
True.
everybody else, right?
True.
So nobody is
True.
going to hand anything to you.
True.
So if you want to outdo the competition, if you are a lawyer in a law firm, there's competition, whether directly or indirectly. You're competing with other people. As a firm, you are competing with other
Other people.
firms. If you are chasing the rank of silk, they only give a fixed number of people or a finite number of people every year. So you're competing with everybody else who has applied. So you need to do what needs to be done or what is required to be done to outcompete the next person. And so, really, I think in summary, the answer to that question is what price are you willing to
To
pay
pay.
for the success that
Yeah.
you want?
Yeah.
And balance your life according to that success that you want. If you want high success, then work life balance you may attain, but you may need to redefine what it means to you.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Thank you so much for, that answer. It is an eye opener. The level of success you want to attain determines what you see work life balance as. If you're able to sacrifice much, you're able to go higher and faster than you can ever imagine. So thank you so much, Silk, for the answer. So, like I said, a lot of lawyers are actually looking up to you. Who is this youngest son in Nigeria? How did he get it? How did he do it? Am I on the right track? So, what advice do you have to every lawyer out there who has seen where you are and who has told themselves, I want to get to this
My
place?
advice really would just be consistency. Consistency and discipline, I think, are the two most important things, right? It's better to know that you're going in a particular direction and continue to go in that direction at a steady pace than to move at high speed in no particular direction, right? And so that, I think, is the difference between a somebody who is on the path to good success and someone who maybe just floats. And those two words are easy to say, consistency, discipline, but they're very hard things to do. You don't need to know how to do hard things excellently well. You just need to know how to do good things consistently well.
Well,
If you can do that, you'll see the difference, right? And that's really what it is. Many people can do a lot of things, but they're not able to do them on a consistent basis or discipline themselves to be able to do it that way. And that's really what makes the difference. That's why you see somebody, the two people may be able to perform at the same level, but one person looks better than the other, not necessarily because he's better, but he has the discipline to continue to do it consistently, and the other person may not. The other person may be good on Monday, average on Tuesday, even less so on Wednesday, good again on Thursday. But the guy who is just good, not excellent, but good Monday to Friday is the better lawyer.
knowing how to do the hard thing consistent and excellently well is not better than doing the good thing. Say it again. I want
It's
to
not better
recap.
than doing the good thing consistently well.
Consistently well. That's Mr. Mofe Tayo-Sen, 2025. Thank you so much because we have come to the end of legal success stories. And I know that you must have learned one or two because I, for one, have learned a whole lot from the Learned Silk. And do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NBAYLF. And the highlights of these will also be posted on all the social media platforms. I'm talking about LinkedIn, I'm talking about Twitter, X now, I'm talking about Instagram. So follow us on all the social media platforms and stay tuned for legal success stories because it has started and is going to continue. It's nice having you. Thank you so much for honoring us to be in our show.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate that.
Thank you for
Thank you so
having me.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.